Welcome all as we congregate to the greatest toy line in community, ever growing, ever changing. As we collect and adapt these figures to our own imaginations and embrace the fun, there's much to learn, especially if you're new to Mythics. Welcome, episode 52 with Trevor, who was just jamming out behind
grooving,
in the backstage, just grooving that music, man. I love it.
Your show is great, but I love that intro so much, man.
So
it just gets me into this nice piece. Yes, this is gonna be a nice conversation.
Absolutely, man. Just
no drama,
conversation between friends.
Exactly.
Yeah, no blue light, none of that. I'm not trying to get you worked up and riled up. We're all friends here. Let's have fun. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
I'm gonna give you a compliment right off the bat.
Okay.
You and Nate are gentlemen.
Oh, thank you.
You guys have this just a vibe on your show. That's just Legion's Lounge. It's just, I love it, man. I love that.
Yeah, we're like the straight ahead. I don't know if it's because we're older, but like
maybe that's what it is.
I don't know.
I'm older too.
I don't know. We bust balls. We have fun, but like it comes off as I think a little more straight laced interview news type of thing than kind of goofing around and stuff. Not that anybody else does, but like I don't. Brad's got his Conan voice that he throws every once in a while to break it up. We need something like that. Yeah.
Their goofiness and they're fun. Like that show, I have a great time. I love their show. That's one of my favorites too.
I think I was thinking back, like somebody else said like, oh, there should be a Legion show that's about, and I'm like, oh my god, we have so many but everybody's got their own lane, which is cool. There's not a lot of overlap. There is, in discussions, but I like the fact that Legion's Lair kind of focuses on the fan and talks to them about the collection and stuff, and we're all over the place. I try to get different stuff going, and the even the Euro Legions, obviously that's from a Euro standpoint, and the Legions Ladies is obviously from the female standpoint. And you're doing, people who are new to it, or at least talking to people who are new to it from some
introducing,
degree. It's great
stories and
amazing.
Love
there's this many channels about Legion, Mythic Legions and Cosmic Legions. It's insane.
What's great is that there's something for everyone, and all the shows kind of respect each other and their time slots and all that stuff. And there's just, we just enjoy all the different shows because we like talking toys.
I listen to them all.
Absolutely.
It's like they're my friends. So, like down here shooting by myself in the dark, and like at least I have my friends to listen to, which is great.
Absolutely. So what was the genesis of the shows, like of your show? Like, can you tell that story real quick?
So we started on Instagram when I think it was just, it started out as Nate and I, and then we had Bill on as a guest, and then it worked. It kind of, I don't know, it kind of felt right. Like, you know what I mean? Like
it fit, kind of.
Yeah, he's got a lot of knowledge, and he comes at it from an analytical point of view sometimes, and is looking underneath the rugs and stuff like that. So he was a good fit, and I think we did one show or two shows with him on Instagram. Yeah, it was just honestly, it's like what we were talking about earlier. It's just a way for Nate and I, and to have other people sit there and talk about Mythic Legions, because there really wasn't anything else. Jeremy had his show where we were all in the chat. And we were chatting back and forth, but we didn't really have any other, get together. I'm not even sure the Cabal thing was going on then. Maybe it wasn't. I just wasn't aware of it. But it was over. I think we're on year 3, so it was over 3 years ago or so. So it was fun, man. IG is a pain in the ass to do any kind of interview on and have people on. It's always a mess. But so that's why we switched to YouTube. But that's it. Yeah, it was just that.
Yeah.
So yeah. And we were Mythic Mondays, I think, to begin with. I think we were Mythic Monday, which we're still on Monday, but like,
Yeah, I never really had I guess I just never thought about it. It was at, I think, ToyCon, New Jersey, and we were just kind of out there waiting for the doors to open to, to go in and buy our Mythics.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is so much fun just talking with friends about Mythics, speculation, what's going to be on the table, what's coming out, this new wave that's coming or whatever. Like, it was just, and the time just flew by.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, should I be so arrogant to have my own just show to just talk about, toys with friends?
It's, man, if you're not like, and you're doing well, but it's not, if you're not like looking to, break the YouTube, algorithm and get millions of viewers, I mean, it's an opportunity that we have now in this day that we live in, to get on in front of a bunch of people around the world and talk to somebody that you want to talk to. And if they want to listen, they want to listen. If they don't, you're still talking to the person you want to talk to. So I think it's great.
That's how I approach it. It's like, I don't know how many, I don't follow viewers or subscribers or anything. I appreciate people that subscribe or people that watch, but I do it because I enjoy talking, to the people about this stuff. It's just a fun thing, and I like the conversation,
Yeah. I mean, there's milestones I'd like to hit, but I am not paying attention to YouTube the way I thought I would, even at first. You know what I mean? Like, I was driving to get that 1,000, or I think it was I don't know if it was 500 when I started, that you had to get to start doing super chats and stuff like that. But honestly, super chats pay for StreamYard and the giveaways that I do sometimes. Not even the giveaways that I do. It doesn't even pay for that. So they're great and everything. But I mean, advertising is nothing. You get nothing from that. Honestly, people who are at 10 times what I have say that's not much that they get from that either. But so it's just fun, man. I don't have the time to dedicate to getting up there into the tens of thousands, but who knows?
I think too, like, this, I call it a pocket universe or whatever, like this community, like this, it's so unusual and amazing and wonderful, but it's surreal too. Like, in this little, pocket universe, I hate to keep using it, like, you're so well known, like, but like at home, your wife or whoever is probably like, take out the trash. It's like,
well, I do that anyway.
It's so funny. Like,
it's funny because they say that, because like last year, and I've told the story before, but like last year, before last year's Legion's Con, I was kind of, I don't know, it was maybe 6 months before, or the year before or something. I guess when they announced the date, I guess they did that year. But anyway, we were talking on the way back, coming back from a movie or something like that. And she's like, so let me understand this. People want to like take selfies with you. And I'm like, yeah, some people want to take selfies with me. She's like, I got to see this. Because she every time I come down here, in fact, doing this tonight, she's like, wow, another interview. Wow. Like, it's funny now, but like, she's like, what are you doing down there? You know what I mean? Like, how? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I have my things, and then there are people who want me to be on and talk about stuff. And she's like, okay. So her coming to Legion's Con last year, kind of, I think, opened her eyes to it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, and luckily, and I've told this before too, as soon as she came to my table, because she had come in while the show was going on. And I said, let me take you around. And as soon as we got even down to the end of my aisle, somebody, and I'd never met this person before, so I don't know who they were. They said, oh, hey, 1-6 shooter, can I get a picture with you? Can I get a selfie? I'm like, yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. No picture.
Sorry.
Which maybe I should have done that. I don't know. But
your legend would have grown 10
times.
Like,
and I'm like, perfect. Like, thank you so much. It's like I couldn't have paid him to do it at a better time. It was great. But then, she got going around and just meeting people and kind of understood the community, not the way we understand it, but like getting it. She knows Steph Delatour, who comes to our house every once in a while with his wife and stuff. So seeing him there in his element, she had never seen that before. I think it was kind of like, okay, this isn't just a bunch of weirdos. You know what I
Right. This
mean?
is a thing.
who are like pew 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 with their toy. You know, like
Right.
we're doing some cool stuff, and like
Yes.
look at Emil's artwork here. This is
Yes.
artwork. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
amazing. So yeah, it's funny. I don't know where this started, but yes, it's
Yeah.
it's she understands it a little bit more. I think.
Yeah. But I think it's from a place of like respect and admiration, I guess, but also just friendship. Like, you know, that we can have relationships with people within the studio. You know, and I've told this to Cornboy and I've told this to Jim or whoever, like that you guys are so approachable. It makes it endears it to us, like endears you guys to us, that we can come up and have a conversation, or that I can send you a message and you could answer me and be on my show, like that people that you guys and I know you sometimes put yourself away from the studio, but you're part of that, you know, you're part of the studio.
I'm a studio adjacent.
Yes, you're studio adjacent. But you know what I mean? It's like it's a respect thing, but it's also like, you know, we're all in this community together. Like everyone is famous.
I was gonna say, like, you know, in speaking about them, you know, Cornboy and everything, it is not unusual, but like it's a little more. It's more so than any other company that I've seen.
Yes.
In terms of the ownership being there and being so involved with everybody. Yeah, in the booth and like talking to the press or whatever, but not necessarily, and people mingling with people they know or other industry people or whatever, but not necessarily in it, you know, but it comes from, and I know, I mean, you've said this about me, which is, so I was I was in a band we were fairly well known within an area, you know what I mean? Like of upstate New York too. So like, it was not like, and I think that kind of, you know, people would come up to me that I didn't know they were in the mall and like knew who I was, but it was like, I've always had this thing in the back of my head. I don't know if it's like with you, or I know it's with some people that are just like, it's not imposter syndrome so much, but it's just like, I know I see big picture a lot, you know what I mean? And like, this is, like you said, we have a little community here.
Yeah.
And maybe you're a bigger dot in that community, but it's still, you're not somebody that can't be approached, man. You know what I mean? You're not somebody that can't be like, hey, can I ask you a question? No, I don't have time for that.
Yeah, sorry, no.
Shit, just DM me, whatever. I'll answer your question if I have time. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's the same thing with those guys. I think they have the same attitude. You know what I mean? It's just like, who are we? You know, we make toys.
Right.
Yeah, I know everybody loves us, but I mean, like, we're just guys. You know, guys and girls.
So, right. Yeah. But I think that speaks also like I think that they've created this nucleus of humble, you know, I mean, talent, but also like just good-natured, open, humble, you know, fans of toys, making toys. We're making something, and they hire people, you know, they vetted like Joe or Diego or, you know, people that, so like, I think if, and I want to hear your story, because I want people to hear it about how you became part of the studio. But I think that like they hire, and I don't know, but I'm thinking that they hire people that are similar, that they have that same feeling, like, you know, this is a good person, you know, this is a, you know, I've dealt with this person for a while now, you know, let's have him on the team or her, because I feel like they have that same kind of good-natured mentality that we do.
They've got a very good track record of I mean, that's one of their, I guess, collective management skills, because it's not like one person makes that decision necessarily, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or either they listen to the other person, you know. I don't know who it was who was like, it was kind of Jim, like when I was there, like, so well, I'll get to that, but like, who kind of made the decision as to, hey, let's get this guy on board to do X, Y, or Z. But I mean, it's a few exceptions that I even know of. Like, it's been like perfect. They just pick people who just fit in so well and are dedicated to what they do, and they let them do it too, which is another good thing. You know, they're not micromanagers at all. You know,
Yeah.
they don't want to micromanage. And picking the right people so that you don't have to micromanage is also a good thing. So whether they've gotten lucky or whether they're just like under the surface, like really good at doing that, I don't know, but it's worked out. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so people that are actually new to Mythics that don't know, Trevor is the photographer, the product photographer for the studio. He also is involved in a book for that, which we'll get into in a little bit. Can you share? And I know it, but I would love to hear your story.
I think everybody knows it.
Well,
but I'll condense it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thank
I
you.
discovered that I wasn't in on these from the beginning, not on the first Kickstarter. So I think I came in around Advent of Decay, and I got in on an in-stock sale, which, if we all know, like, we haven't really experienced necessarily like one of those crazy in-stock sales like we used to even a couple of years ago. But even before that, before they switched to the Shopify, oh my God, it was a mess. It was you just clicked on things and you hoped that they were going in your cart, and then you got to your cart and you're like, what did I get? I don't even know. Check out or it's going to be gone.
Yeah.
Which is how I ended up with 3 Keltis figures on my first order.
Wow.
Yeah, which is insane. I didn't want them, but I'm like, I can't turn back and take them out, or I'm going to lose everything. I knew that much. So I got them. I had seen other photographers shooting like mainly the Ethron's Dozen and a couple of the nights and stuff, like the Templar Nights. No, it wasn't the Templar Night because that wasn't in the first. But one of the nights. I was like, whoa! I love fantasy. I've always loved fantasy art. I grew up like reading the D&D manuals. Mainly, I never played really, but I just love the artwork. And then I got all the magazines, Dwarf Magazine and Dragon Magazine and stuff, because I just like the artwork and, you know, all those epic and heavy metal and all that stuff. I just love that stuff. Rosetta.
Heavy metal. I love that.
Remember heavy metal?
Yeah, I have an issue laying around. I have them all over the place. Yeah,
I still have at my house a lot of those Dragon magazines, which were D&D specific, but there was a lot of artwork and the covers. Yes. Oh my God, I love it.
So good.
Amazing. Larry Elmore and stuff. Who well, I don't think I could say that, but anyway.
Dang it. Damn tease.
He may see some of my artwork soon from someone, and I would
love that.
You got to show it to him and just whatever. Anyway. So where was I? So yeah, so I started seeing them. I bought some. I got the Keltises in, and like everybody says, you open one up if you've never had one before, and you're like hooked. You know what I mean? Like, whoa, this is like, and it's not the articulation. Obviously, we know that they're not Mafex figures despite it, but I was never necessarily about that. It's just the look, the detail, the paint apps, the fun factor, and just, I mean, there was skeletons, man. Ever since, like, you know, watching, and I'm not old enough to have seen them in the theater, but Jason and the Argonauts and all that stuff. All the Harryhausen stuff. I've wanted skeleton figures, and I've got skeleton figures. Oh my God. So love those all. Got more and more and more. Started shooting them almost exclusively. I'm still shooting some of the Star Wars. I mean, 1/6 shooter comes from the 1/6 stuff, which was my main collection when I started back into collecting. But these quickly took over. So I'm not far from New Jersey. I'm in Long Island, and I went to a New Jersey Toy Con, and of course that was, you know, the Horsemen had been there for, I think, a couple of years before that. And so this might have been their 3rd year. And it was right before the Arethyr G-Con, I think, like the year before. And stood in line. I mean, I still think about the amazing stuff that was on the table at that point. And like, of course, it was back then, but it was just like, wow. There was so
only we had known,
picked up more of. Yeah, I know. And I got up, and just like now, there's Corn Boy, there's Eric. You know, there's Jim down at the end doing the checkout and stuff. And I'm like, hey, I was working for a magazine called X-Glue at the time, which was kind of a toy photography toy magazine. And I'm like, I'd really love to do an interview with you guys. And I was kind of nervous about it, like for the magazine. They're like, oh yeah, that's great. I'm like, yeah, I love your stuff. I take pictures. And I showed Eric the orc on the throne picture, which kind of blew up on Instagram. And he's like, oh, I saw that. That's amazing. You took that? That's great. And then I got an email. I talked to him a little longer. I wrote him back. I said, hey, can we set up a time for, you know, the interview and stuff? And they're like, yeah, why don't you come out for G-Con? And this was G-Con when G-Con was in their studio, the little studio, not even the studio they're in now. Tiny, tiny studio. Tons of people packed in there. They're at a desk over by their desks. They've moved the chairs out of the way for the cameras and stuff. It was nuts. So I brought them some printed pictures, like framed and stuff, to put in the office. They had them. I think I'd sent them before, and they'd had them up on the walls. So at the end of that Jeremy was there, not working for them there. Joe Vasapolo was there as a customizer that they had on, not working for them yet.
Just
so that was kind of the origin story of like three of us right there, and that one Arethyr G-Con. And at the end of the show, I got talking to Jim, I got talking to Eric. I'm like, you guys gotta, like, I was kind of talking about social media too. I'm like, you guys could do better pictures, man. Like, I think, it could be upgraded. And they're like, oh, we know. And we don't want to do them anymore.
Yeah.
So that was it. That was that. And then Jeremy started working on the website, which he was talking to them about and stuff. So that's pretty much it. And
that's great that they're open to that. Like, I've noticed that they've hired Brad, Eric's brother, to do more of the video,
which is awesome.
Yes,
yeah, which is awesome.
I love that they're broadening their horizons, by new medias and things like that. I think that's a great.
Well, as much as I love photography and don't love doing like video BTSs, video is king, man. Right? Like right now, it's TikTok, it's movement. People want it. Whether they get it through AI or through taking their own.
I don't get it. It's bizarre to me. Not off-putting, but like I've seen like how people do where the action figure starts to move. Yeah, and it's kind of disturbing to me. It's just really odd. Maybe it's because it's new. I don't know.
I played with it. It's weird. I've never published anything. I wouldn't do it, but I just to see what it was like, and it's interesting. We can't even get in discussion about AI at this place.
Yeah,
but,
no.
There are great people like Captain McKay out there doing, like, he just did a Mythic Legions stop motion, which is amazing, and just has that more.
Yes,
you know what I mean? I liken it to. It's almost like if you're an old school Star Wars fan, and then you went to see. I know people love the prequels and everything, or even now with the volume, it's like it's kind of there's something a little not uncanny valley, but a little fake about it, whereas that real figure being moved by somebody and moving the hands and the joints and stuff just has an organic feel which you can't get from.
I agree.
Clicking buttons, like make his wings move and make his arms. It's not the same.
But I think that's an old person thing.
I mean, maybe because people haven't grown up on it.
They're not going to care. Young people won't care about. That's just me. That's just my
possible. It's possible. Well, what's possible is I think there's going to be people who are. I think there's kids who were like prequel kids, like for Star Wars. I like them back to Star Wars, right?
Right.
And then they went back and watched the originals, which may feel old, but they may have thought something was like, that's kind of cool. You know what I mean? There's something cool about this, and I don't know what it is because this is what I grew up on, and I don't know that they were just in a big green room and there was nothing behind them. You know what I mean? But after a while, you can kind of tell. But having grown up on that, it's like growing up on color TV and going back to black and white and going, oh, this is kind of dumb. But then you have an appreciation for black and white. You know what I mean? Our generation, well, my generation, not yours, but you know what I mean? Yeah. So they may have an appreciation for it until it gets maybe 30 years in the future and nobody even remembers what stop motion animation is. I don't know.
Eric Miller on Mythic Enablers, he said that the prequels were like watching a video game. And I was like, yeah, I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
I can kind of see that. I mean, I was happy because more lightsabers and more Jedi, but once you really start to analyze it, then you're like, oh, it is kind of all. But I guess George had a new toy and he just wanted to,
Oh yeah, listen, he was cutting edge in the 70s and 80s, man. I mean, everything he did is the reason we had any kind of like really cool science fiction, Blade Runner, etc. Like all that stuff that they broke ground for. And it's a new tool, it's a new way to do things. I just think, they didn't look at it and step back and go, does this look like film? Or maybe we don't want it to look like film anymore. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a new way of doing it. I don't know.
Yeah. That kind of leads to a question that I wanted to ask you at some point is, with your photography, like how do you feel about utilizing like newer technology or something? Like, are you kind of like, this works for me, I'm not messing with it, like everything is working great? Or are you kind of like looking to what's in the horizon on technology wise when it comes to photography?
I would say with photography, I'm pretty much baked in, except for like analog technology, I would say, like lighting and things like that, which is getting better and better, and app controlled lighting, which is amazing, not to have to reach across a set and knock shit over to
I've
turn off a
seen that.
light.
Yeah,
You know?
I watched
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Intern watched you do that,
I see it every
like
day.
you setting it up was so cool. Like if
Mhm.
people that are new that don't know, Intern is where the studio has a drawing and allows people to come once a year right before
Yes.
Legion's Con to see where the people that's in the studio will not see them work,
Not
basically.
always in the studio. Yeah.
That's not where you work, but
Right.
and that leads to another question that I was going to ask you too about, are you happy to work from home, or do you feel like you missed something by not being in that,
Well,
work
let me
environment?
finish up the technology one
Yes, go
because
ahead. Sorry.
that's okay. Um, I mean, there is it's more in post production, I would say.
Mhm.
There are AI tools now, quote unquote, in Photoshop, but it is for a manual thing that used to do. Now, there's a good part and a bad part to this, I guess, but like I used to, let's say I had a wire holding up a figure, right? Now there's two ways to take care of that. You can take the shot. Hopefully you've got it all good to go, and then take the figure out and the wire out, and then take a shot of it without them. Right now, there could be shadows you're missing and stuff, so it's a little tricky. And then you layer those, and then you basically erase the wire, right, and let the bottom layer, which doesn't have the wire in it,
Mhm.
show through, right? So that's one way to get rid of it. The other way is to clone, which is like basically a stamp tool, which takes um, pixels from around the area, and you can kind of just try and clone it out, basically,
Mhm.
like take it away, which was a lot of work. But you had to be good at it too, in order for you could see a lot of people who did it, and you could still see where they did it because it wasn't really blended well, like, so it looked
Right.
like the background, but
You
there
know
was
where to
definitely a
look
line there.
for. You're like, that seems
Now
not
with these AI tools, you literally just select the thing that you want, and you type in
crazy.
remove, and it does. I mean, it's 30 seconds, and it's
Mhm.
almost flawless. Like a
Mhm.
lot of the time, 90% of the time, it's pretty flawless. It's a great tool. Is that
Mhm.
cheating? No, I don't think so. It's
I don't either.
photography tools. It's
Yeah.
photography tools. I know I'm an ACBA. I like ACBA, Articulated Comic Book. For those who don't know, it's a group on Facebook, and it's kind of I liken it to almost like cubism for
Mhm.
art. You know what I mean? Like it's a section of art, of toy photography, where they are like practicality. They don't want you, if you're going to use a stand, you better hide it behind something else or use something to hide it. They don't want a lot of Photoshop. Lightsabers fine, but they don't want a lot of Photoshop work in it post. So Photoshop became a dirty word, but Photoshop is just a dark room for modern photographers. You know what I mean? Like, it's not
Exactly. Yeah. I was
something
gonna
that
say.
does magic unless you know how to use it, and it's a skill that you can learn. So
Mhm.
um yeah, as far as technology goes, I'm open to anything. Like yeah, I've dabbled with some AI backgrounds and stuff like that. I try not to do that kind of stuff, like basically modifying something that I need in a picture that I
Right.
already have, which is
Right.
usually stock that I pay for. I don't steal images from Google or whatever. So everything that I use and honestly, in my shots, the background is like, if it's more than 20% of the shot, that's unusual. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
basically a sky, maybe. That's about it, really. There really
Right.
isn't much else. I don't
Yeah,
do
because
much
you're
with
not
backgrounds
selling the
besides just sky.
background. You're selling
No,
what's
I've
in.
got dials galore that I'm trying to fill. You want that depth. You want something in the foreground. You want the figure. You want something in the
Mhm.
background. Maybe something even behind that, and then just to fill like an area, like maybe it's trees in the distance, going into a forest and something like that. And that's about it. You know what I mean? And that is going to become, by the time I'm done, about 25% of an image at most.
Mhm.
So, that's and that's perfectly legal to use. So I do all that stuff, above
Absolutely.
board. Yeah.
I noticed you've been a
Yeah.
little bit laggy. I don't know if it's my connection. I'm
Oh,
hardwired.
really?
What's your connection?
No, I'm Wi-Fi, but I'm usually pretty
you
good.
froze a few times in our talk,
Oh,
but the sound is perfect. But every once in a while, the picture freezes a little bit.
let me quit some things. It always depends on what my wife is doing upstairs
And
sometimes.
I don't mean to interrupt I just wanted to
You cut this
bring it
out
up.
though, right?
Huh?
You'll
Yeah,
cut this out though.
yeah, for sure. Cut this. Or I'll just pause it now. So the next question was about working in studio as opposed to working at home.
Mhm.
What's your thoughts on that? And do you ever go to the studio to do?
Not the Dragon. I had to
Right.
go there because obviously that's not something they're shipping FedEx. Or even, I've had some people from the studio drive things out to me before. Dustin and Joe and stuff like that. So
Love Dustin. Love that guy.
he's great. He's great. When it's needed to be like, or they had to pick up the big dio for the sci-fi, for the cosmic sci-fi dio and stuff like that. But no, I mean, since Alithia was the last one I think I shot in totality in the studio. And they were all kind of glued together. So I've had to reshoot all those for the book because we didn't have any dynamic shots. And we really didn't have accessory shots because the accessories like the pauldrons and whatever were all kind of glued to the figure, so we couldn't really take them off for the accessory shots. So those have all had to be redone. But no, like I did some work for Mezco early on. I think even before like The Amazing was involved with them. I could be wrong about that, but I think it was because I think they were looking for somebody to do, they still would do those photoshopped images, and even with D on board, they still do that for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but they wanted me to come in. Now they're not too far from me, but like, I'm like, guys, I got all, I showed them what I could do. They liked what I did. And I'm like, what I need to do then is to use dios and my big backgrounds,
right,
my screens and stuff. And they're like, well, we can't really let the prototypes out of the office. I'm like, I'll come and pick them up, man. If you don't want to mail them, like I'll come and get them. And they're like, so
okay,
that didn't go anywhere. And it was kind of sad because I thought that was going to be that was before Four Horsemen. I thought that was going to be like the big thing, but I didn't really want to have to drag a bunch of stuff there every day that I wasn't going to use, or found out like, oh, I need that tree, but it's not here,
Right.
So kind of dumb. I got everything here, man. I got a library of diorama pieces. I've got, parts and things, and especially for Mythic Legions, I've got, almost every Mythic Legion. So like if we need something, an extra character or something like that. Same thing with some of my other clients have got extras of their figures. So it's much better here. Like I've got everything set up the way I need it. I've got everything organized. So I know when where my bounce cards are, and my flags are, and my tape is, and my, so everything's right there, ready to go. And it's far easier to do. When I go and do the intern for a day, I get worried that I'm going to forget something that I need. like one year I forgot the tether cord, which would go from the camera to the computer out to a screen so that everybody who's in the room could see what the hell I was doing on the thing. And thankfully, I think it might have been last year or the year before. Somebody, whoever was there, they had one. I think it was Brad, but somebody had a tether cord. So yeah.
Is there a setup there at the studio for you, or is it basically an empty room?
No. They have so Brad uses studio. So a lot of the shots that you've seen coming out from like some of the just the on black shots for like the skeleton graveyard set, and actually some of the first shots for the dragon bonuses, Brad shot those in the studio. So they have it's gotten bigger, actually. They have a nice big room now. It was a little room before, but they have a decent big room now. So he'll do video there. Like when you saw the dragon video, he shoots it in that room. They got a big black backdrop that they can drop down and stuff. So yeah, he's brought in more equipment. So yeah, it's decent now. I could probably just go there with my camera and some lights and be okay, but I always get panicky. So
I don't blame you. I don't blame
I
you.
end up
You're a
bringing
pro,
more
man.
than I need, but you know.
You're a pro. Would you say that the studio has kind of bolstered your career in photography? Like, have you gotten more jobs because of working with the studio? Like, that's been your, something that's okay.
Catalyst.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for this, I mean, anything can be your big break, and it might have been Mezco or something, if that had panned out. And I'm kind of glad, in a way. I guess things happen. I'm never about things happen for a reason, but maybe they do. I don't know. I'm glad they didn't. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, because I'd much rather be working on this line and the lines that I'm working on, Frazetta Girls, AWHILE. These are all lines that I really, really like.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great that those two, along with some other ones, Brutal Realms is going to be amazing too. I can't wait for
Yes.
those. And
Very excited for that line.
God, I'm forgetting. What are I gotta look it up. Anyway, some of the other companies that I've done that they're not out yet, the Kickstarters and things like that.
Okay.
But they're coming soon. I like them all. Like I'm very happy that I've gotten people have called me up, who, in the past when I've done some 1/6 stuff, I've gotten stuff from companies will just like send me stuff and like, hey, shoot this, and I'm like, this is not very good. Like it doesn't look good. And basically, I'm like, I'll tell them like, I'm good. I don't have time
Right.
for it, whatever, because I just don't want to do it. You know what I mean? So,
So do you
that's
feel
kind of
like the products that you feel like your photography is better because of the product that you're taking pictures of? So you feel like
listen.
you're a pro, but
Well, I was just gonna say that without trying to like pat myself in the back, but I mean, I'm professional enough that like I've taken on some vinyl toys in the last
Mhm.
couple of years, which are basically immobile and nothing that I would ever collect. Like
Right.
nothing. Cute little chibi little bunny rabbits and things like that.
Mhm.
I had a lot of fun with those, and I think the product shots looked really cool. So I can do that kind of stuff. I've done eyewear and things like that. It's not exciting, but I could do it.
Mhm.
But to be on a regular basis doing things for Mythic Legions, for Zeta Girls, AWOC, that's pretty cool, man. I like it. It's fun. There's I love GI Joe. I don't collect it, but I would love to do GI Joe. I'd love to do
That would
Operation
be
Monster
fun.
Force, but they have somebody doing their photography, who's doing a great job. So
I
like,
love that toy line. Like I was
yeah,
just looking at there's a new figure called the Eraser, who's like their take on the Invisible Man, and he's got the
yes,
wraps, but he also has
yes.
the
The
clear. I'm like,
Donner Party. I can't wait for the Donner Party,
yes. I'm
man.
like,
Oh my god.
get those in my hands. These
Yep.
figures are
That is my GI Joe. Like that has become like I don't collect GI Joe, like I said, but GI Joe is such a nice line.
Mhm.
And my friend Matt Cohen, shooting the Galaxy. So he started out in ACBA too, and he was from around the New York area. I think he was living in Manhattan or no, anyway. I remember when he hit me up and said, "Hey, you're a creative director," and I was at the time for an ad agency. He's like, "What would you ask me if I was going for a job for like photography?" And I'm like, in the back of my mind, I didn't ask him, and he couldn't tell me, but I'm like, "Going to Hasbro," and he did.
going to
He was doing
Hasbro,
great,
bro.
and he's doing a great job there, man. He does
Yeah,
all of that GI Joe stuff, and it is
it's
like
fun. The
fun.
pictures are
Yeah.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
So
agree.
yeah, he does a great job and they look great. And I would love to do those, but obviously that's wrapped up. But I'm happy, man. I got enough work. I'm like, if anybody follows my feed, you know that I less and less put up like personal work that isn't like, paid promotional stuff because
Yeah.
I'm pretty busy. And
Have you had to turn
which is
away
great.
work because you're so busy?
I try not to, but that is something that I'm trying to learn to do because it's always been a problem with me saying not saying no to things, and sometimes that can get me it hasn't gotten me in trouble yet, but like, pushing deadlines and things like
Mhm.
that. And in this, honestly, in this world, I mean, the horsemen and I there's a cadence to what they do now, you know what I mean? So I
Mhm.
kind of know, and I do know up front a few months ahead of time what's coming and things like that. But, you know, they're painting sometimes up into the last minute before G-Con, and it's not a fault. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? Scheduling wise. So those are tight deadlines, but there are, sometimes a client will say, listen, can you get this to me by, we're sending it. It's Thursday. We're sending it. Should be there tomorrow. Can you get it done by Monday? And I'm like, well, there's other things on the table right now.
Right. Yeah.
So,
And you don't want to take away.
And I only have one table right now. I'd love to have 2 tables, but there's only one table, and I can only work on one thing at a time. So I've managed to make those things happen. I managed to get some Frazetta Girls work done in the middle of doing all the G-Con work or the Legions Con work last year. You do what you got to do, I guess.
Right.
Stay up late and get it done.
Well, I love how and I know this is a Mythic show, but I love how the Frazetta Girls have their stuff timed. Like, they're talking about Dark Wolf. Like they release the pictures, your pictures or whatever.
And then it's ready.
And then it's ready. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I love that. Tigra's coming. Boom, Tigra's shipping. It's like they have it so that it's timed, and I love that. Like you're not waiting a year or 2 years for the next.
Yeah, and the good thing about that for me is that aside from Dark Wolf, who when I got the first one was basically a paint master and it was glued together, like it didn't move. So if you look at the pictures, the original pictures of Dark Wolf, he's pretty much standing in this stiff pose.
Right.
He tried to make it look as cool as he could, but he didn't really move all that much. Now they're kind of like production masters, you know what I mean? They're not final, but they at least are jointed and can move and stuff like that. Paint isn't 100%. Sometimes I have to fix that, but that's always fun. Like with bringing it back to Mythics, Figura Obscura is always fun because those are production figures. That's a final figure that I get generally. And man, I mean, it's so much fun to just be able to move those,
right?
And not worry about things,
right,
falling over, apart, or whatever.
It helps you in your photography too. I think if you can get them in the poses that you want, and without having to worry about it crumbling to pieces.
I mean, you look at the recent the Fire Knight, right? That's coming with the fire set.
Oh, I'm so in love with that figure.
Yeah.
I
did some shots of Sir Bennett. It's great. It looks so good. It looks so good in hand, man. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Sir Benegar, who's also amazing looking. He's pretty much a full figure. There's some little loosey-goosey parts, with the pauldrons and stuff like that, which are 3D printed. But for the most part, a production figure. So I can get him into some cool poses. And I don't think they've released those yet, but they probably will soon. But the Fire Knight that they just put out, the picture that I took, man, I had to prop up. You don't see it, but the sword is propped up on something in front of it because his arm just won't even hold the weight of that thing. It's a printed piece. It's just, I can't get him into a cool pose. Really, I try my best sometimes, but like it's a nightmare sometimes.
So in cases like that, are you relying more on like environmental things, like like let's get a little bit more of this dio, or let's get a little bit more of this and this, because I can't really make visually you just have the figure to show, but you can't make him really do anything, or her. You can't really make them do anything. Yeah. So I've got to give them some kind of story. Does that make sense? Like,
I'll do my best. I'm insane, so I'll do my best, or good, I don't know, but I'll do my best to get them. Like I've developed a method of putting like medical tape, cutting little tiny strips and wrapping it around the joint, the pin, and putting that in till it's thick enough to kind of hold, and that kind of has a stickiness to it. Not sticky, but it's like, because sticky tack will just like fall, it'll start to get hot or just lose it doesn't really hold something in a position when you've got like a sword in the hand or something like that. So this is a little more tight. And then if I have to, I'll clip it to something and then Photoshop out the clip or whatever. But like, I can't just generally just have a figure in an environment shot just kind of standing there. I've got to work on getting it to
doesn't seem natural, right?
Yeah. So almost all the stuff you saw from Reign of the Beasts, I'm trying to think. I think a lot of that stuff was prototyped, and things like Lee Odysseus heavy arms, trying to get him into this pose where he looks cool and he's not just kind of standing there. Like, 'cause, I
Right.
mean, he's a lion. He's the king of the
Right.
great beast. Like, he's got to look cool. So I'll do what I can to get things into a good, cool pose. But it's time consuming, which is, sometimes when people will call me, smaller companies and stuff, like, and I'm like, what are you giving me? Are you giving me production figures? Are you giving me, prototype figures? And if they say prototype figures, it's the price goes up, because, like, honestly, like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be fixing stuff. I could be
Right.
gluing stuff if it falls. It adds hours of time, and they don't really understand it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah.
Um,
That's a long-winded answer. Sorry.
no, not at all. Not at all. I had a question about that, about the photography of the prototypes and stuff, and I forgot where I was going to go with that. Do you find, like, now that you have you're kind of a name brand, I guess, or do you have people seeking you out, or new toy designers seeking you out because you're Trevor Williams 1/6 shooter? Like,
Yeah, I mean, you get
have you
a
seen that?
reputation. I mean, one thing I have to thank the Horsemen for as well. Another thing that just makes them cool is that they would allow me to put my watermark on the images, and they still do, which is cool, because, like, people can see that it's me. Even if you're tagged in it or whatever. I mean, company doesn't have to do that. They're it's not in the Frazetta Girl photos. They'll usually tag me, which is nice. I think you should tag the artist. It's nice that whoever did the sculpt gets tagged, or whatever. But you're under no obligation to do that. You've paid me. So,
Right.
so that was cool. So yeah, that definitely and now it's just kind of a known thing, which is cool. So yeah, I have people all the time, and I like to help out. I really like to help out the Kickstarter people if I can. I just did something for the dead. There's so many.
I know. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I just don't know their name.
The Cursed Dead.
Yes. Yeah.
Something for them. I didn't charge him for that one picture, because I kind of was like, well, let me see what I can do. And generally, if somebody comes to me and they want a bunch of them, I'll and they're doing a Kickstarter, I'll help them out if I can.
Cool,
you know
man.
what I mean? Like, it depends on what I'm dealing with, and
right.
And with those guys, it was like, if you can do something, great. If you can't, don't worry about it. I'll send you the figure. You can play with it if you want to do it. So yeah. So, but yeah, I do, and sometimes I can say yes, and sometimes it's just timing wise I can't. So unfortunately.
When it comes to, like, your photography, and maybe this is a question for the studio and other companies, I guess, but how hands-on, like, is the studio with you, like, when it comes to feedback, or do they just trust you, or is that something you had to build over time? Or how is that?
So I mean, when it first started out, and I was kind of dealing more with Chris Garich, believe it or not. Before Jeremy came on board in his position, he was kind of dealing with the website. So yeah, I was giving stuff to him, and he needed it in certain formats, but he wasn't really, directing anything or asking for anything. And it was pretty much whatever goes. Like, this is the main look. And even then it was a little, Chris is busy, man. So it wasn't really, I just kind of fell on him. So it's like I would have to be, this piece was kind of floating in a bubble wrap. What does this go with this guy, or does this go, and then now it's a machine. Like, Joe Vasapolo will take a tray shot, and
They've got it down.
And Jeremy will send me the tray shot. Here's everything that goes with it. Here's the main look. Here's the alternative look with the a different head or different pauldrons or whatever it is. And now it's kind of good, because it is good because Jeremy will generally have the bios done, so he can send me the bio, and then I have something to go by visually that will tie into what he's talking about when at GCon or whatever they announce it at. He's telling a story about it, and the picture follows the story, which is nice. You know what I mean? It just adds to that extra layer of, like, interest and stickiness to the story and the bio and stuff. So Now it's pretty much Jeremy and I going back and forth, and he's got looks that he wants. And there are times when I actually did, I think I can say this. I actually did something with Lee Odysseus where it was more of a, I was going for mountaintop with some like a grassy flat area of a mountaintop or something like that. But I could see where it did end up kind of looking savanna-ish. And when he got it back, he and Eric looked at it, and he runs things by Eric. He's not making determinations necessarily about himself, unless I've got an accessory wrong or something like that. They're like, yeah, it's a little too Lion King, you know, and like, and he didn't give me the direction beforehand in terms of like he was thinking more Roman because you know we've got the Roman soldiers, more of a Roman ruin or a ruin or something like that. I'm like, okay, I can easily do a ruin setting and put him in.
Right.
It just wasn't what my first thought was. So, you know, but that's a rarity. I mean, most of the time, I mean, Jeremy's busy enough as it is to not micromanage photography. And if I have a story and I know who the character is, which I'm very familiar with, I hate to say it, but I kind of nail it, you know.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
9.5 times out of 10, you know what I mean?
Them giving you more information, it kind of helps you paint a picture photographically, you know, of what they want. So it's like, you know, the more they can give you, the more, you know, you can kind of do.
Well, another thing with ATL 25, when I got it, you know, he did tell me this is not a cosmic figure necessarily, right? It's not meant to be. It's built on Cosmic Legion's parts, but it's kind of meant to be its own thing. You know, it's meant for ToyCon, you know, Toy Atlanta, just like, you know, the PowerCon ones, the ZoloCon ones are not part of Mythic necessarily or whatever. So I don't know what it was. Maybe I think it was like something that I missed in our text back and forth or whatever, but I put him in front of kind of a sci-fi setting. You know what I mean? Like some purple plants and some odd looking trees and stuff like that. And he was like, it's not meant to be a cosmic character. You know what I mean? Like, we're really looking at this to be like military kind of like future Earth or whatever. I'm like, oh, okay. So I switched it out to the jungle setting that it's in now, and there you go. You know what I mean? So, but that, I got to tell you, that's a rarity. And again, like I said, 9.5 times out of 10, it's good to go. So that's them. Other companies are different. Other companies have certain things they need, you know, for size wise. You know, there's always that side of the box on the Frazetta girls that we need, like kind of a slim picture. You know, you can't have the arms out like this because you'll get cut off. Everything. So you got to think about that. So yeah. So it depends. Depends on the company. It depends on the need. Yep.
Yeah. I have a dumb question, I guess.
Nothing's
do you, or maybe it's something I didn't think of, do you ever get to go back and take pictures of the finished product? Like, you know what I mean? Like you're dealing a lot of times with prototypes, like you said, or nearly finished. But other than Figure Obscura, do you get stuff or do you get to go back and be like, man, I would really like to take better pictures of Lee Odysseus, you know, when he's done?
Yeah, the book, not the environment shots unless I do them on my own or they have a need for it, which hasn't been the case. But with the book, again, going back to Alithia, which was all glued together, like I reshot all of Alithia. Everything you see on the website is likely going to be replaced with new shots and that was done in their studio. It was the kind of the setup I used, but it was a little different than I do now. You know, I was doing a little bit warmer light on some of it. And, you know, I'm trying to do a little more flat light so that people, I mean, I'm going to go off on a tangent here.
Go for it.
You're not going to match a piece of clothing by holding your shirt up to the picture online of another piece of clothing. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to happen. Your monitor's different.
Yes.
The color's different. The way when you export the image can change alter the color a little bit. And yes, the lights that they use to take the picture can change the color of something. So I get that people want to try and match paint, you know, a year before a figure comes in, or like, you know, match it to a pop and swap. Does it match this? And that's a great question for Joe to go and take the actual figure and put it next to another figure. But I'm not doing photographs to chronicle the pop and swap ability. I'm trying to make them look cool and sexy. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
occasionally, yes, like a light will bounce off a shiny surface of a cape and make what is kind of purple look a little pink or red. You know what I mean? It's like the dragon, the Benegar right now, like has a very gold colored interior to the cape, but if the light isn't shining at it in the same way as it is over here, this part might look a little darker and brown, and this part's going to look gold. I mean, it's just the nature of light. So anyway, that's that. But yes, to answer your question, I got to go back in this book and shoot some stuff, which felt good, because looking at some of those older pictures, I was like, ugh, okay.
I get that. Yeah,
better.
Understandable. You're an artist, and to go back and see past work, you can tend to tear it apart. But you're kind of not handicapped, but basically handicapped in dealing with stuff that's not at its perfect presentation.
Yeah. So like on the cover of the book is the Dark Four, and then the faction leaders of the main four factions, right? And I had done an Arethyr shot on my own that he used for Arethyr, which was that was a production figure. I did, I'm trying to think, what did I do? A couple of them anyway. Two out of the four were either post-production shots, post-figure production shots. So these were figures that I'd gotten in hand now, from the Four Horsemen after they came out, and I took shots of them and they used those. And then two of them, which were Poxus and Alithia, were just these, again, they were just glued or very I mean, Poxus was super, super finicky.
I can imagine.
To even get him on a horse with the wings and nothing was holding together, and just to get him to stand there.
That drives me
crazy.
So
he's just kind of like sitting there stiffly and not looking interesting. And like you got Arethyr with fire and like and Necronominus. So Necronominus, they used the big one, which was a prototype, but that one, I don't know how I got that to hang from a wire for that long, but I did. So I took two more shots. I took an Alithia shot and I took a Poxus shot just recently. So those will be replacing the ones that you see in the promo shots on the cover. So that was nice, like to be able to do that and not to have those shots be on a cover of a book that's going to be out there forever felt good. So
I'm super excited for the book. I cannot wait. I think most fans of the line are really hyped to be able to have that resource, but also just to have it in hand to look at the pictures that you've made for these figures. I'm excited.
Yeah, I guess it hasn't hit me yet. I mean, like again, going back to our conversation about whatever that that means, approachability or whatever. Again, it's cool. I mean, it's probably cooler than I'm making it out to be. You know what I mean? Cool, but I kind of tend to downplay things, I think, and it's just like, it's cool.
I mean, you're human, you're real, you're humble, but it is a cool thing.
I try to be, but I mean, I don't know, it's innate or it's just something that I like. Maybe again, it's not imposter syndrome, but it's something. There must be a word for it, some German word, I'm sure.
Right.
Right. But I just like, what in the state of the world, what a difference does this make? I'm not curing cancer, you know what I mean? Like, but it is cool. It's cool, man. Cool. Like, and I see, Ken. My memory today is off, man. I don't know what's going on. The man who shot Luke Skywalker, the series of books, the guy who did all the photography for Star Wars. And he's got a series of books with all the pictures that he took behind the scenes and stuff like that. And it's Ken. Jeez, I got his book like right there. I could just go look it up. But
it's not the Art of Star Wars books, is it? It's something else.
No. Hang on. This is great content here. I hate it.
No, I know. I hate that I don't know it.
Kim Simmons, not Kim.
Okay.
Kim Simmons. I don't know why that didn't stick with me, but anyway, Kim Simmons, and he'll go and do some, like, I don't know if he's going to be at Celebration this year, but I've seen him at Celebration before, you know, doing a little panel talking about the photography behind Star Wars and stuff like that. And people revere those images that appeared on the boxes and stuff like that back then. And I'm like, all right, it's not Star Wars, but I don't know. There's a little piece of me that I hope when I'm like, you know, 78, somebody will call me from a convention somewhere if Legion's Con's still going on.
Absolutely.
Or whatever, and say, hey, we'd love to have you on a panel, you know, with much younger people to talk about when you're photographing Mythic Legions.
It's got to be exciting now, though.
You never know.
No, but like, you know, what's going on and the growth. I mean, I'm outside looking in, but like the growth of the studio, the community, you know, how many figures we're getting every year. It's got to be surreal, like riding on the wave of just amazing stuff, and Eric just creating this world of insane. Like, I was trying to explain it to my fiance because I had a picture of him that he signed, which, like, people like autographs and you guys like what you're talking about, what we were talking about earlier, autographs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But for geeks or fans of this community to have something that Eric signed or to talk to Eric, it's like I'm in awe. I hate to use that term, but I'm so impressed with what he's creating. You know, and it just seems like right now, like everything seems to be firing on cylinders. And then there's this dragon, you know, it just seems like we're at this amazing point of this studio at this time. So yes, Trevor, it's fucking cool. Like what you're doing.
It is. Cool. And like,
it's okay to be like, yes, like I'm part of this.
I think it's because there's always something happening. You know what I mean? Like, and I looked the dragon. Okay, I did the dragon back then, but now it's the thing. And I keep telling people, and yet I kind of like just thought about it the other day that like this is, you know, I keep telling people in order to hype it, and I don't think it needs hype, but like just to talk to people about it, it's toy history. You know what I mean? This is toy history, which okay, in the history of history, maybe that's not a big thing, but it is. You know, it's a thing.
It's a big
a thing because people still talk about the flag and things like that. You know what I mean? And it's a piece of that. And I think, I think people appreciate like Eric and what those guys have done. But I think if you can put yourself in the future and look back and it's like, wow, this was amazing stuff, man. This is incredible. Like, I don't know that it wasn't for Eric Treadway that we'd be getting anything like this dragon, man. You know what I mean? Like I saw another company that's doing now 1/12 horses, which took a lot of real close inspiration, we'll call it, from the Mythic Legions horses, which were, yes, there'd been horses in the past with pins in their legs and screws and stuff like that. But just the articulation, when I saw that, I was like, this is amazing. And now we got the dragon. We have a dragon. Which is nuts, man. It is. It really is
biggest
nuts. It
goddamn
really is nuts.
Action figure ever.
Yeah. And he
majestic. I keep using
sculpted every one of those scales. Like not even like repeat and, you know, copy, repeat, copy, paste. It's just like everyone. It's nuts.
Everyone. Yeah. I don't know who I was talking to, but I was saying, I wish, because I do a bunch of shows, other people's or my show or whatever, where I'm always talking, but I wish that at ZoloCon, the dragon would have been right in the middle of the walkway or the floor.
Yeah. I know we were talking about that.
Raise it up so that, you know, have a freaking light shining on it. Like this is a crowning achievement. This is, look at it up close. Like I was lucky I got there a day early and Joe was setting up the dragon. And I'm like, can I approach it? And he's like, yeah, no problem. And, you know, I didn't ask to touch it. I wanted to, and I got like this on the dragon. I was just looking at his face. And I'm like, just the detail, the colors, Sherry, you know, the colors and but like the scales, how there's different colors and modeled and like just the raw texture and detail. It's
that's what people don't, I don't think well, I think people appreciate it, but I don't think they appreciate it in the in terms of the price and the fact that, you know, Eric took 6 to 8 months to sculpt this thing,
Mhm.
and that time doesn't get factored in. You know what I mean?
Right.
He gets a salary for being the owner, you know, and that
Right.
he doesn't get extra overtime for
Right.
spending all that time on this dragon outside of his normal day, which I'm sure he did at night because I know he does. So yeah, that's not even factored into. It's
Right.
insane, man. I would like to. I don't know what it's going to be. I know it's going to be at Toylanta, which is going to be great. I can see them wanting to keep it close just for security, safety reasons. But even
Yeah.
having somebody out there, you know, Legion's Con is one thing because there's always somebody there that's going to like kind of
Right.
watch over it. It's just outside the store area and stuff like that. But I do hope it gets coverage. Like I talked to Jeremy about asking like Norm from Tested, you know, if he was going to be there, because he'll usually go around like near Comic-Con and film things and stuff. And I'm like, make sure he sees that dragon, man. Make sure he talks about it on his channel.
Right.
But I think I think the exposure is going to be great. I'm really glad that they're able to bring it down there. Things like that, I think, are just going to open it up to people. I saw a lot of comments on the Toylanta post about it going to be down there.
Mhm.
People are like, "Oh my god, I know if I see this thing in person, I'm going to want to buy it." And I'm like,
Absolutely.
"Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing."
Yeah.
Like the people who haven't seen it in person are just looking at pictures of it.
They need to see
May
it.
not get the impression of, you know,
Yeah.
what it looks like.
Get up there, get close. That's how it was with the Cat Slayer, though. When I saw
Mhm.
it at PowerCon, I was like,
Mhm.
yeah. But
Mhm.
seeing it up close, like seeing it there was
Mhm.
it's something completely different. But
Yeah.
the more exposure to the dragon, people need to see that thing. It's
Oh yeah.
and that's why I'm in awe of Eric, is just you know, he pumps out these amazing action figures every year. You
Mhm.
know, he's like a font of just creative
Yeah.
brilliance, but
And the I mean the lore. Well, I mean now he's not writing all the lore, but he's got it in his head.
right.
He's world build. I mean, world building is a difficult thing to do, especially when
I
you've got a line that doesn't have anything behind it, no
can't
cartoon, no
even
movie, no
fathom.
nothing.
Yeah.
And to get this many people into caring about it without just being like, yeah, this is just a knight and that's
Right.
just a lion guy. You know what I mean? No, like I know what these are. I know how they
And
relate.
they could have done that. They could have just,
Sure,
you know,
easily.
had a goblin and
Yep.
had a vampire
Yeah.
and had a
Just
knight,
D&D
you know.
characters, build your D&D party,
But
whatever. Yeah.
yeah, they built something. They had a foundation, and Jeremy, you know, added to that. I think, you
Yes.
know, like
Yep.
when I
Absolutely.
hear the lore and read it, I'm like, that's Jeremy.
Mhm.
I could
Yep.
tell. Like I know now, like that's
Yeah.
his voice.
Fleshing that out, you'll notice that
Yes.
the descriptions on the side of the boxes have gotten like 3
Yes.
times as long.
And
But
I'm
that's a
all
good
for it.
thing, though. It's a good thing. You
It's
know,
a
it's
good
like
thing. And I think that
harder to read when you're older, but like it is.
right, right. But just to kind of bring things back into circle, like that's why I think people want selfies with you or with Eric or with Jeremy, because you guys are just creating things that we love and adore and think are cool. Back
Yeah,
to the word
that's
cool.
nice.
It's
That is
just
nice. That's
that you
nice.
guys are creating something this damn cool.
Yeah.
And the synergy, you know what I mean? Like everyone, you know, from the top to the bottom, from Dustin, and I'm not saying he's bottom, but you know, from the top to the bottom, everyone is part of this. Like I asked Diego, how many people are? He said like 15, and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
Mhm. Mhm.
But 15 people, 16, 20 now, whatever,
Yep. Mhm.
are making and
Yep.
together making something so fantastic is cool.
And to the, you know, to the level that they are, you know, making the dios and things like that, and the giant figures and stuff like that Bill
Right.
does. And yeah, it's crazy, man. They just have talented people everywhere. It's again going back to where we're talking about it initially, like it's amazing that they've been able to pull that many people who are that good together, which is cool. You know what I mean? And to be part of that, yes, okay, I will take a minute to say, like,
Take a minute.
It's pretty damn cool to be
Absolutely.
part of something that you know, kind of genre changing and special. It's special. It really is kind of special. You know what I mean? Like I
Absolutely.
think in the pantheon of toy creators. There's some great, again, Matt Cohen does a great job with Hasbro, but you know, Hasbro's big corp, a lot of money. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not cutting corners or anything like that, but you know, they're making their money elsewhere to support things. This is all
Right.
these guys do. This is all they do. You know what I
Right.
mean? Not just Mythic Legions, they do other things for other people, but
Right.
it's just making toys. You know, they're
Mhm.
literally just making toys, which is amazing.
And now you
So it's
see,
cool to be
like,
part of that.
absolutely, I can imagine. But and now you see other toy, like, starting out toy companies that want to emulate,
I love
that
it.
want to, you know, be in the footsteps of
I
the
love it.
Horsemen. And
Yeah.
and I love that. And I love that the Horsemen are also gracious with
Yes.
other,
Yes.
you know, and hey,
Yes.
come to our con and
Yeah.
have your stuff, and or if you need help sculpting, you know, we can talk
Right.
about that, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I love that, like, that this
This is
time
yeah.
the
This is going
independent,
back to what we're talking about. Yeah, like they're just like, don't get too big for your britches, man. You know what I mean? Like you know, help AWOX. I mean, it's not a competing line
right,
necessarily, but it is competing for your dollars. You know
right,
what I mean? And Valaverse and all that stuff. But it's like, hey, there's enough for everybody. You know what I
there's
mean?
enough
And
for
we're doing real
everybody,
well. You know what I mean? And
right,
they're confident enough to think that, like, well, majority of people are not going to drop Mythic Legions because they saw some Valaverse and went, "Oh,
right,
I'm getting rid of all my Mythic Legions and buying Valaverse." You know what I mean? Like, oh,
right,
I'll pick up Valaverse. Maybe I'll get into this too. You know
right.
what I mean? But you know,
If it's
I think,
good, it's going to attract people,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
whatever it is. If it's good, people will
yeah,
recognize it, you
yeah.
know.
And it's cool that they will do that, man. It's really cool. Just the fact that they've opened this up and been able to get people to do all these. I mean, my God, is there any other line? There isn't. I don't think. I don't even think like Hasbro, Marvel Legends, Star Wars that has more third-party parts out there available
It's
than Mythic
insane to me.
Legions. There's
Yeah.
just nothing. Like, what else is there? I mean, I'm in 1/6. There's custom 1/6 parts all over the place, but not like this.
Right.
I mean, my God, you could have
It's an industry
uh,
into
the
itself.
amount of heads for like one like alien. Like, oh, I want an alien head. Well, you've got a choice of about 140 of them. You know what I mean? For
Right.
different. It's insane. It's
But
incredible. And the fact that they encourage that and don't, you know,
yes.
I find it like sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I've asked Eric this, I may have, but like it's got to be hard because like for me, I'm thinking from my part, like somebody gets a figure, like maybe not something that I haven't shot yet or something, or maybe it's something that I shot as a prototype and I'd love to get it in hand and shoot it. But like, you know, as soon as some people get Mythic Legions or whatever, a new figure, somebody's shooting it, right? And somebody's
Right.
doing, there's great people out there, you know, the friends of mine who are incredible photographers, and they're doing something with it. And I'm just like, well, shit. Like, I don't even want to shoot it now. Like
Right.
that's perfect. Like I like
Yeah.
it. And so like I got to imagine it's got to be like somebody comes out with, you know, Emil or whoever, some of these, you know, Jason Rodriguez and things like that coming out with
Right.
these heads and stuff that you just go, damn, that's cool. You know what I
Right.
mean? Shit, that would have been a great actual figure, but
I
we got
wonder
to do
if
something
he
different now.
isolates himself from social media
I'm
so that
sure he
he doesn't get
probably
influenced.
does.
I
Yeah.
never even thought about that.
Yeah, I think he probably does. I haven't asked
I
him
wouldn't
that
blame
either.
him.
He
Yeah.
sees it at the shows, I think. And that's got to be hard to like kind of like, you know, what if you, I mean, that's the thing, like an IP thing, like we don't, that's like companies telling me don't send us sketches of like something you'd want to see because we may be working on that. We're not going to look
Right.
at it because then you'll sue us. And you know what I mean? So
Right. Yeah.
you can't, nobody's going to do that here, but it's got to be difficult to like not be like, damn it, I had that idea. That would have been cool.
But I'm sure that that's happened where he's
Oh,
working on
sure.
something and then he sees it, you know.
Mhm.
But I
Well,
think
David
fans,
Williams Buzz-Off is the perfect example,
right,
right? They
exactly.
totally put those parts together. They maybe didn't have that exact paint
Right.
scheme in
It's
mind, but I
pretty
think
damn close to
probably
it.
that build was like what they were going to do. And
Right.
David did it, you know, better by way of paint and things like that. And they're like, yeah, let's just give it to him, which is freaking great. Amazing, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
But that's cool though that they had that generosity of, you know, that they recognize, hey, you're an amazing artist and what you did was great. We like
Yep.
you. You know, we're
Yeah.
gonna kind of
Freaking enough.
make it a mini tribute to you. So I think that was freaking awesome.
Amazing.
One or two more questions real quick. I think this community and the toy line, they're kind of there's like a synergy there, I think, where you don't really see it with other toy lines. I feel like this one is closer and more micro, but like I'm wondering, does a community make the toy line better? Like, do you feel like there's something there? Like, do they feed off of each other? Like, do you think I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I think so. I don't know
Does
what
that
are we
make
talking
sense?
about. Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I mean, I think a lot of people have said this. I'm not a member of a lot of other groups about.
I'm not
I
either.
don't think. Maybe I am, and I just don't
I'm spoiled. This
pay
one's too
attention
good.
to. There's a lot of 1/6 ones that I've been involved in, and there's drama there too. There's a lot of drama. And there's the people who are just, there to just instigate and things like that. And I think as much as, Pete McCarthy will say that the admins could be doing things different. And I agree, there are things that could be better, but for the most part, like nobody's perfect. They do a great job, the admins. And it's been a mostly positive group. And yeah, I mean, I know that's what they want, and they've made it the official, it became the official group. So there are things that come along with that. Like, as much as people want to complain about how can I just say this? Well, it is the official group of the. They're not trying to censor you or anything, but there are just things they just don't want. They're very sensitive about like stuff that relates to kids. You know what I mean? Like if I think with the. They like my wife is going to kill me, but they're not like necessarily putting it out there for the kids to know about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And blood and things like that. They don't want to show stuff like that in images.
I've noticed
and stuff
that.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a kid's toy. You know what I mean? Like, they're not prudes, but at the same time, it's just like, it's not necessary. You could do it without that. And so it's, I don't know where I was going with this. What was it? What were we talking about? Oh yeah, the community.
We're just talking about the community and
absolutely.
how
I think they feed off of it. I think they feed off of it, right? They feed off the energy.
I think they do for sure. The excitement
look at all
of the fans.
Look at all the stuff like, Corn Boy wearing the Schmerb shirt and, the Purple Gang stuff going out there. And, people wearing Legion's Lounge shirts from the studio. And they're supportive. They're like, every time you see them, they're wearing another shirt from another group or YouTube show or something like that. So they're absolutely in it, man, which is just more authenticity. And I think we see it. I think some people who are new to the group get it pretty quickly, and then I think there's just people outside of the group, especially when something like this dragon comes along and it has a wider appeal, and has some Figure Obscura doesn't really have that much consternation around. I mean, people find a way, but like people find a way to complain. But for the most part, it's like, I'm going to buy it or I'm not. It has no bearing on who the 4 horsemen are or whatever. It's just, is it cool to me or am I not? But this dragon is like, hey, it's cool, but it's $500. And then, the initial thought is like, wow, they're really like making a lot of money on this. And then, but when you know them,
right,
that they just want to make this dragon as much as anybody else wants to see it made, man. So like, yes, of course they make money. They have to make money or they're going to go out of business. You know what I mean?
I mean, their kids got to eat. Their kids got to go.
But it's not,
it's a business, but it's also they're passionate about it and they love what they do. And I think they really care about the fans and how the fans feel and what the fans want,
which is the only reason they're doing this. Right. I mean, honestly, like I've said to people on shows, like if whoever is in, and I hate to keep picking on Hasbro because I think Hasbro does what they have to do and charges what they have to charge because they are a publicly owned company that has shareholders to deal with, and that is just our corporate world that we live in. But if somebody came to them with this dragon and put this price point on it and said, we're gonna make this amount out of it, the higher up's gonna go, like the bean pusher is gonna go, no, we're not. We're not doing that. Not for that much. No way. You're going to charge, 25-30% more if you want to make it at all. And if it doesn't make it, then, which it wouldn't.
And that's how corporations are run. They look
it's what they have to do. Yeah.
Like you look at movies, is this movie going to be successful? How many people, how many butts are we going to get in the seats? You know, is it people going to want to watch this over and over again? You know what I mean? There's formulas that they look at, or equations that they're using to figure out, you know, okay, is this going to be successful? Okay, let's get The Rock. And then what if we got, you know, this person too, Jack Black, you know, and then we're gonna, you know what I mean? So it's like, is it gonna appeal to kids? Okay, then let's get, so it's all kind of,
whereas Four Horsemen are like early New Line, or what is that that other studio that's doing all those horror movies and things like that. They're just like Bloomhouse. They're a little engine that like is churning out some great stuff. You know what I mean?
But I love that they're the size that they are. You know what I mean? I asked Jim at IshCon, I'm like, are you happy with the size of the studio, or do you wish that you were like Super 7 that had stuff at Target or something? And he's like, no. He goes, that's not what we want. We want to be able to come to the shows and meet you guys and take pictures and know Schmerber, or know, you know, Purple Gang, or know, you know what I mean? Like, and I was like, that's the right answer. You know, yes, it would be great to be able to go to Target or Walmart and pick up, you know, a Gladiator or the new beautiful legendary barbarian figure. Everyone needs one, by the way. But, you know, it would be alienating. Yes, it would be alienating, you know, that they're so big, they would lose something, I think, if they became that, you know.
Well, I was going to say, in order for this, something like this, you know, knowing margins as little as I do, about with big box stores like a Target or a Walmart. My wife in a past life actually had, I think, some discussions with like a Walmart about a product that she was making, and it was, or if it wasn't Walmart, it was, I think it was Walmart though. It was a long time ago. The amount, like what you had to give them. I mean, like if you had a wholesale price, it's like, yeah, that's the wholesale price for regular people. For Walmart, we want an extra X off of it. So they want a lot. They want big margins, and you wouldn't be getting anything close to what we're getting now. These soft goods, forget about it. You'd be, I mean, if you even got those capes that we used to have back in the day, you'd be lucky. You know what I mean? These are not going to fly in a big box store like that. They're just not. They're going to be $70, and they're not going to want to carry something like that. You know what I mean? It's just not going to fly off the shelves. So, yeah, it's not worth it for them, and I'm glad they're doing what they're doing.
Me too, man. Me too. Well, I don't want to take up more of your time. I have more.
Let's talk all night. No, I'm kidding.
But I would love for you to come back sometime. I appreciate you hopping on the New to Mythic Lives every once in a while. Thank you.
I'm glad I got here finally, Schmerb, and we had so much to talk about that we could keep going. But it was, you know, you were afraid that we weren't going to have anything to talk about. I know you didn't want to talk about photography too much, but you know, it's always new.
I want it to be organic. You know what I mean? I don't want to keep asking you stuff that you've asked a million times. I would rather it be a conversation. But then I respect you enough to not waste your time either. I want to be able to, you know, talk to you about interesting stuff that might engage you in conversation.
Yeah.
So
now you're doing a really good job, man. The show's been great. I just watched Blake's interview the other day. That was really good. I think it's cool, man. The way you're approaching it is it's interesting. It's a little like, you know, Meet the Collector, but it's also, you know, it's mythic centric and it's fun. Like it's interesting. There's stuff about Blake that I didn't know that I found out. You know, Cloud. Absolutely. You know, Cloud's right down the street from me. So.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, you guys are fairly close. Is there any advice you would give someone, a new collector that's new to Mythics? What advice would you give them?
You know, it's kind of, let's see, it's kind of generic in that like,
that's okay.
Don't worry about the past stuff. And in fact, God, everything that's coming out now, it just keeps getting better and better, man. It just keeps getting
Barbarian
better. Legendary Barbarian just came out. It's probably one of the, I mean, yeah, there's a newness factor to it, but it's incredible. It's so good. And Necronominous, you can still get it. It's amazing. There's legendary figures coming out, you know, so you don't really have to worry about unless you're that type of, you got to have them all. And if that's the case, I would say you could probably do that over time. Take your time. And that's what I've been doing. Like I'm still like 3 or 4 short, and I refuse to pay insane prices. If I find a deal, if I find a trade,
gold skeleton's worth that much.
Yeah, I did that last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, the new stuff is great. Don't worry about having everything. You can easily get some of the stuff from the past few waves now. There was a lot of it. I wouldn't say it was overproduced, but there was an abundance of it. More people got the bug. I think more people tried to flip and,
Right.
sitting on stuff from some of those like all-star waves and things like that. So the Cabal is great. Join the Cabal. Trading is great.
Yes.
People are fantastic. People will help you out with information, advice on customizing. Yeah, I would say just pick up a couple, that interest you visually and play with them and get to know what they are, the different types of parts, the different types of bodies. Don't have to be an expert. It's just fun, man.
Have fun.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
There's so much fun,
There's so much damn fun. Like that
Yeah.
Frankenstein's creature, it just I'm in love with that figure. I didn't think I was. I'm like, I'm not a Frankenstein guy, I don't care. But in hand, in love. Like I'm looking at it now with like the way that my dog looks at me is the way I'm looking at that figure.
It's so cool to see those. It's great to see people who I'm a fairly avid reader. I used to be more avid, but like I'm also older, but like I've read a lot of those classic books, not everything, but I have an awareness of what they're supposed to be. Like I knew Frankenstein wasn't like, bolts in the neck, green skin in the book. Even though I haven't read the book for ages. But it's great to see that kind of stuff and Mask of the Red Death, which I'm very familiar. I had like a kid's book of Mask of the Red Death, which is a bizarre thing to have a kid's book of.
Was it a pop-up book or?
No, it wasn't exactly like a little golden book or anything like that, but it was creepy as hell, man. I loved it.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's great to see stuff like that be made and like people discovering the Monkey King and figuring out what that is, not even knowing what that is, man. It's really, really
I think they're definitely respecting the, original properties.
Absolutely.
And it's influencing, it's opening people's eyes and like, oh, what is this? Let's check this out.
Totally.
Let's see what this is.
Yeah, there's some eye openers this year, man, for sure. That's all I'll say.
Can't wait. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Well, thank you, my friend. I appreciate you immensely. Thank you for your time. Hope to see you again. What shows might you be attending this year?
Show wise. Oh yeah. Okay. So I'm going to be at Toylanta. I will have a table. I should have some free ATL 25 posters. I don't know how many, so get them quick if you want to get them.
I wish I was there.
I think they're handing some out, and then they're going to be some at my table. So if you want me to ruin it with an autograph, come by and I'll sign it.
If I have a friend pick one up, would you sign it for me?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
please.
I'll grab one for you.
Thank you, man.
Let's see. After that, I'm going to be at SDCC. I think that's the next one. No. So after that, and this just went up on my IG today, I'm going to be at Celebration in Japan, Star Wars Celebration in Japan.
Holy crap.
And we've been trying to get this toy photography panel done for years, get it included in the panels, and they finally approved it. And now I got to go to Japan for it. But
awesome.
It's cool. I was going to go anyway. So it's going to be myself, Jax Navarro, Plastic Action, Nose Rain, Richie Chang, Nose Rain, and Ray, who puts it together, who does movies with Star Wars action figures, actually.
Wow.
So it's gonna be pretty cool. So that's gonna be happening in April, and then SDCC, which the Horsemen are gonna be at, which is amazing. I can't even believe.
That's awesome. I wish
SDCC is great, and I can't even imagine like there's gonna be people from the studio there I'm hanging out with. That's gonna be incredible.
That's gonna be awesome. I love that show.
And yeah, then I don't know if I'm gonna do IshCon or not. New York Comic Con, and then of course Legions Con. Now it's a big con year, man.
It's a big con year, yeah. Now, one quick question. I've always wondered this. I've asked people about you, wondering, without actually asking you. Does the studio kind of suggest you or like you to go to different shows, or is it just I'm gonna go and support the studio?
Nah, because what they're doing is kind of no, to answer your question, no, I just go. If I'm there and they need help or something, I'll help them out. But generally, I'm just hanging out with them or something. But we've never like coordinated anything. And even the ATL 25 thing is something I coordinated with Toylanta. So I don't know. It'd be kind of cool if we did like have some posters or something that they made. So, I don't
Absolutely.
know. The problem is like, I think a lot of the times when people come to see them, maybe it would work. Maybe it would work with something. I'd have to talk to Jeremy about it. But, it's people that they know, or people who are just kind of wandering up and looking at the figures. I don't know if they'd come there because I'm signing a print or something like that. You know what I mean? But
hey, you never know. I mean,
you never know. On the right project, maybe it might be interesting, but
and
we'll
your
see.
co-author.
Maybe with some of the book or something like that. Yeah, maybe the book will be a reason. So.
Nationwide book tour, man. You and Jeremy.
yeah. That somebody asked him about that. Like, when are we doing the book tour? I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. I'm gonna have you sign my book for sure. I can't wait for it to be in my hands. They said maybe this year, hopefully.
$5 a signature. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, absolutely. You're worth it. Only $5 though.
Only $5.
Yeah, five is
I have a feeling. Again, I don't know. Like, my inclination is like nobody wants that, but my hand might get a cramp at Legion's Con next year.
I'll be early. I'll wait in line. I'll be one of the first.
Right. Yeah. But before it gets all crazy and scraggly.
Yeah.
And stuff.
The squiggly. Is that Trevor's, or is that? Yeah. Was he having a fit? What's going on?
He's cramping up, man. He's
cramping up.
He's a mess.
All right, my man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You got it.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Remember, friends, to always have fun, be curious, share, and enjoy what this line has to offer. Come for the toys, but stay for the friends.